ॐ भद्रं कर्णेभिः शृणुयामदेवाः भद्रं पश्येमाक्षभिर्यजत्राः स्थिरैरङ्गैः सुष्ठुवागुंसस्तनूभिः व्यशेम देवहितं यदायुः स्वस्ति न इन्द्रो वृद्धश्रवाः स्वस्ति नः पूषा विश्ववेदाः स्वस्ति नस्तार्क्ष्यो अरिष्टनेमिः स्वस्ति नो बृहस्पतिर्दधातु। ॐ शान्ति शान्ति शान्तिः. We will see the important points of the first section, and then we will go to the second section. In the first section, the main topic was Srishti, because the question also was regarding the Srishti. Bhagavan kutohava imah prajah prajayanta iti. And this Srishti was given in a unique manner in the form of 5 Srishtis, as Mithuna Srishti, Loka Srishti, Kala Srishti, Anna Srishti and Praja Srishti. And the unique feature of this creation is introducing the creation as a set of complementary pairs, which aspect we don't find in other Upanishads. Normally, we divide the universe into pairs, but in those contexts, the pairs are known as Dvandvam. Dvandva means a pair consisting of opposites. But in Prashnopanishad, the very same pair is known as Mithunam. Even though they are opposites, they are complementary. And the difference between these two attitudes or the two ways of interpretation is very much, when you look at them as opposites, we will develop raga and dvesha. But when we look them as complementary pair, then we will see them together as a whole. So in a complementary pair, both the members are equally important to make the whole. Thus, life and death will not be seen as opposites, but the life and death becomes an integral part of the whole creation. Similarly, growth and disease or decay are not the pairs of opposites, but they are complementary pair. That means living should involve growth as well as decay. So you have to accept as a whole. The greatest advantage is acceptance idea comes. We will accept the death also, because that also is necessary to complete the creation. We accept association as well as dissociation also, because only both of them put together makes a whole. We will get a holistic vision, which is very much talked about nowadays. So that the Srishti in the form of Mithunam was pointed out, which is a very beautiful approach unique to Prashnopanishad. But Srishti is the first point. And after every Srishti, a small diversion was taken. Among them, the most important point was the Shukla Krishna Gati topic, which was talked about after Samvatsara Srishti. After talking about the creation of Uttarayanam and Dakshinayanam, this diversion was taken, which was in the 9th and 10th mantra. The Shukla Gati and Krishna Gati was talked about. That is another important point of this section. And then the third point is a discipline of Brahmacharyam was also introduced. These are the three main points of the first section: Srishti, Shukla Krishna Gati, and Brahmacharyam as discipline. Now we have to go to the second section. And we have to connect it to Mundakopanishad, because this is supposed to be a commentary on Mundakopanishad. So in Mundakopanishad, Aparavidya and Paravidya were introduced. Aparavidya is the preparatory knowledge. Paravidya is the Brahmajnanam, the real knowledge. And this Aparavidya we divided into two as Karma and Upasana. And this Aparavidya consisting of Karma and Upasana was discussed in the Mundakopanishad second section. Prathama Mundake Dvitiya Khandaha. The first chapter, second section. Mundakopanishad was divided into 3 chapters of 2 sections each. And there, Karma was elaborately talked. Upasana was not talked about very much. Where in Mundaka, first chapter, second section, even though both Karma and Upasana together make Aparavidya, the Karma part of Aparavidya was elaborately discussed, but the Upasana part was not discussed much at all. If you remember Mundaka, various karmas tadedat satyam mandreshu karmani kavayo yanyapasyan tani tretayam bahudha santatani tanyacharatha. Do all the karmas. And again, the Agnihotra ritual was introduced. And if the ritual is not followed by Yasya Agnihotram Adarsham Apurnamasam Achatur Masyam Anagrayanam Atithi Varjitancha, etc., the Agnihotra ritual must be supported by various other rituals. And there only Kali, Karali, Ta Manoja Vacha, Navamarda, Sulohita, Yacha, Sudhumra Varna, the 7 tongues of the flame. And how the ritualist after death will go. And Yehi Ditam Ahutaya Suvarchasaha, Suryasya Rashmibhir Yajamanam Vahanti, how the various devatas will welcome him. And how he will enjoy elaborately. Karma was talked. And the Karma Ninda was also done there. Plava Hyete Adridha Yajna Rupaha Ashtadashoktam Avaram Yeshu Karma Ishta Purtam Manyamana Varishtam, etc. Thus, in 9 mantras, Karma was elaborately discussed, but Upasana was discussed only in 1 mantra. In the 10th or 11th mantra it comes, Tapashraddheye Shupavasantyaranye Shanta Vidvamso Bhaikshcharyam Charantaha Suryadvarena te Viraja Prayanti Yatramritasta Purusho Hyavyayatma. Thus only one mantra was devoted to Upasana. The mantra beginning with Tapashraddheye. And thereafter only Pariksha Lokan Karmachitan comes, which you must be very much remembering. So therefore the balance was not there. Karma was given predominance, Upasana was not discussed. Therefore in in Prashnopanishad, the Upasana is going to be given importance. And therefore the second and third sections are going to be Upasana sections. Dvitiya, Tritiya, Prashnau, Upasana, Parau. And here the Upasana is going to be Hiranyagarbha Upasana. And Upasana, you must know the definition, you must remember the definition. Otherwise, and the whole discussion, Upasana is defined as what? Saguna Brahma Vishaya Manasa Vyaparaha Upasana. Saguna Brahma Vishaya Manasa Vyaparaha. So primarily, Upasana is a mental activity. Puja cannot be called Upasana. Somebody asked the doubt. We say he is a Devi Upasaka and he does lot of pujas and all. Because of the puja, he cannot be called Upasaka. At the end of the puja or at the beginning of the puja, he should meditate on the deity. Only then he can be called Upasaka. Doing physical worship will be called only karma. Therefore, Upasana means it is purely mental activity. That is why I said Manasa Vyaparaha. Then there will be a problem. Because in Vedanta also what do we do? Mental activity only. Therefore Vedanta also will be called then Upasana. And therefore to differentiate Upasana from Vedanta, what do we say? Saguna Brahma Vishaya Manasa Vyaparaha. Vedanta is what? Nirguna Brahma Vishaya Manasa Vyaparaha is Vedanta Shravanadikam. So therefore, when you have a mental activity which is centered on qualified Brahman, attributed Brahman, Saguna Brahman, Saguna Brahma Vishayaha Yasya Manasa Vyaparasya Saha Saguna Brahma Vishayaha Bahurihi. And here it is going to be Hiranyagarbha Upasana. Okay. Then why 2 chapters? Unnu porado. According to Mimamsa rule, whatever Upasana is going to be prescribed, that deity has to be extolled, had to be glorified first. The Upasya Devata should be glorified either in the beginning or at the end. So if it is Hiranyagarbha Upasana, Hiranyagarbha has to be glorified. If it is Virat Upasana, Virat has to be glorified. If it is Omkara Upasana, Omkara has to be glorified. That is why in Taittiriya Upanishad, when Omkara Upasana was prescribed, Omiti dagam sarvam omitye tadanukriti hasmava apyo shravayetya shravayanti omiti samani gayanti ogum shomiti shastrani shagum santi omityadvaryu pratigaram pratigrinati om 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 naraya vandute. So all these are what? Omkara stutihi. Kimartham stutihi? Omkara upasanartham Omkara stutihi. Okay. For the sake of upasana, why should there be stuti? Very simple. If I have to worship a deity, first I should develop a devotion. Isn't it? How can I meditate or worship a deity unless I find that it is worshipful, that it deserves worship? So that is why, as I often say, before I introduce some person for a talk, I have to always glorify that person even if he doesn't have. He's a very busy person. He travels all over even though nothing he has to do. So we are very grateful that in spite of his busy activities, he has condescended to come down and give us a small talk. Why? Because you are doing upasana on him for 1 hour. Upasana means what? You are putting your whole attention to that lecturer. If you have to do that, you should develop some kind of a respect. Namaskaram panna vanda. Elundirukama ukkandirukkanuma illiyo. Therefore, yasyaha devatayaha upasana kartavya, sa devata stutya has to be glorified. And therefore, the second section is going to be Hiranyagarbha Stutihi, and the third section is going to be Hiranyagarbha Upasana. And the Stuti plays a very important role in the Mimamsa also, because in the Mimamsa, Upakrama Upasamharo, I don't know whether you remember, long time before, Abhyasaha Apurvata Phalam Arthavadopapatti cha. So thus, Stuti is an Arthavadaha, which is an important lingya for arriving at the topic also, and therefore Stuti is important. It is one of the Shad Lingyas. It is important. If you want to give a technical reason, you should say one of the Shad Lingyas it is. Okay. How are we going to glorify Hiranyagarbha? In this section, Hiranyagarbha is going to be glorified. How are we going to glorify? We should see the development, then the section will be easy. What is the definition of Hiranyagarbha? Adalla marakapadu. You should not forget. Hiranyagarbha is Samashti Sukshma Sharira Upashita Chaitanya. So the consciousness along with the total subtle body is equal to Hiranyagarbha. Samashti means total. So Hiranyagarbha has got the total subtle body as his equipment, just as we have got individual subtle body as our equipment. Hiranyagarbha has got the total subtle body as his equipment. Therefore, Samashti Sukshma Shariram. Don't ask me what is Sukshma Shariram, I will be in trouble. And last Sunday only, we have discussed. And therefore, you must be remembering Panchajnanendriyani, Panchakarmendriyani, Panchapranadayaha, Manaschaikam, Buddhischaika, Evam, Saptadasha Kalabhissaha Ettishtati. So that Samashti Sukshma Shariram is Hiranyagarbha. And how does he help us? If we ask, the Samashti Sukshma Shariram is alone available as the Vyashti Sukshma Shariram in everyone. So Hiranyagarbha alone is obtaining as the individual Sukshma Shariram in all the Jivas. Because Samashti alone is manifesting in the form of Vyashti. And therefore, how does Hiranyagarbha bless us? In the form of our Sukshma Sharira. And what is the importance of Sukshma Sharira? The very Sthula Shariram is alive. The very Sthula Shariram is functioning only because of the blessing of Sukshma Shariram. Minus the Sukshma Shariram, the Sthula Shariram is a corpse. It is only a dead body. So in short, the very life in us is because of Sukshma Shariram, and the very Sukshma Shariram is because of Hiranyagarbha. That is the approach. The very life is because of Sukshma Shariram, and the very Sukshma Shariram is because of Hiranyagarbha. Thus, without Hiranyagarbha, an individual cannot even survive as an individual. Okay. Even in Sukshma Sharira, we have seen there are 17 parts are there, we said. Jnanendriyam, Karmendriyam, Prana, Manaha Buddhi. 3 into 5, 15 plus Manaha Buddhi, 17. Of these 17 organs also, which is the most important one? If you analyze, the scriptures say that Pranaha is the most important of the Sukshma Sharira. And that is why when a person is alive, he is endowed with Sukshma Sharira. But generally, what do we call a living person? Prani. Prani nanartham. Pranaha asya asti iti prani. Prananai udayadu prani. Now, why don't you say it is endowed with Jnanendriyam? It is endowed with Karmendriyam. So, even though the Sukshma Shariram consists of Jnanendriyam, Karmendriyam, Antakaranam, etc., still we say that the Jiva is one which is endowed with Prana. Antakarani sollapadadho. Em Prani solrom? Because the most important part of Sukshma Shariram is Pranaha, and therefore we always call a living person as a Prani. And that is why when the life is going also we say Pranan Bordu, Pranana Vangaran. I don't know. Pranana Vangaran. Pranan Borade, Pranan Boche. So why do you say Prana? Really speaking, the Indriyas are also going along with Sukshma Shariram. All of them are going. And therefore, the Sukshma Sharira is sustaining an individual, and even in the Sukshma Sharira, Prana particularly is sustaining an individual. And there is another reason also, that while sleeping, all Vyaparas come to a standstill. Jnanendriya Vyaparas have stopped. Eyes do not perceive, ears do not listen, nose does not smell. Then Karmendriya Vyaparas, hands, legs, etc. also come to a standstill. Antahkarana Vyapara, you don't remember anything, you don't know anything, there is no Sankalpa Vikalpa, there is no Nishchaya, there is no Anusandhanam. Therefore, Mano Buddhi Chitta, why even Ahankara is resolved during sleep. That is why nobody says, I am sleeping. Even I is resolved. But still, if we say that the person is alive, ella vyaparam nunnachu. Even though sarveshu vyapareshu uparateshu api satsu, even when all the vyaparas have subsided, still we call him alive because of one reason. Because still the prana vyapara, is going. The circulation is going. Imagine the heart also takes rest. One beat miss pannale tagararengra. All kinds of problem come. Missing beat is a big problem. Now imagine heart stops during Sushupti, so circulation doesn't stop, digestion doesn't stop. That's why early morning many people get up hungry. Right? Because Samana has been working, Vyana has been working. Of course, Udana need not work. Anyway, we need not go into the detail. The idea is Sushupta, the person is alive only because of the pranas functioning, and therefore prana becomes the most important. In fact, one of the names for Karana Shariram is prana. Because in Karana Shariram also, prana aspect we are experiencing during Sushupti. Anyway, we need not go to Karana Shariram because naalakittam varapor. Okay. Therefore, we find that prana is the greatest blessing given by Hiranyagarbha. And therefore, in this section, the Hiranyagarbha Upasana is going to be as prana. So, Hiranyagarbha Upasana is going to be as Samashti Prana. Because Hiranyagarbha as prana is blessing everyone the most. So even though buddhi may not be functioning, many people without buddhi are happily surviving. Many people, anyway, are happily surviving. Why? Because prana is the blessing of Hiranyagarbha. In fact, for many of us, after college, buddhi stops functioning. Stops functioning. And still we happily survive. And therefore here, Hiranyagarbha's blessing seems to be better than even the buddhi gift. The prana gift seems to be better. Therefore, the upasana is going to be called pranopasana. Aditha prana upasana, which is as good as Hiranyagarbha upasana, only because prana is Hiranyagarbha amshatvat. And therefore, the second section is pranastuti. The third section is prana upasana. This is the division of topic. And accordingly, we get the question also from the second member of the 6-member team of students who have come. So the question also is going to be accordingly asked. Now we will go into the question. Athahainam bhargavo vaidarbhih papracha Bhagavan katyeva devaha prajam vidharayante kasara etat prakashayante kaf punaresham varishtha iti. So the first question was asked by Perla Nama Vichikirta Kastam Atha Kabandhi Katyayanaha Upetya Papracha is the first question. Now the disciple is Bhargavo Vaidarbhi. Both together is the name of one student. Two names, one student. He is called Bhargavaha because he belongs to Bhrigu Gotram. And he is called Vaidarbhihi because he belongs to Vidarbha Deshaha. So Bhargavo Vaidarbhihi Atha. Atha means what? Anantaryam, anantaram. Kasya anantaram? Katyayana prashna uttara anantaram. After Katyayana's prashna and uttaram, Bhargavaha Vaidarbhihi papracha. He asked, whom? Enam. Enam means Pippaladam. Pippalada is the Guru. So his name is not written because he is the common Guru for all the six. Therefore, Enam Purvoktam Pippaladam papracha. What is the question? He Bhagavan, Kati Devaha Prajam Vidharayante. So, O Lord, He Guru, what are the Devatas that sustain the people? So, what are the Devatas that sustain the people? And here Prajam literally means people, and here people refers to the Shariram. So what are the Devatas that sustain the Shariram? And here Devatas or Devas means various principles of the body like Karmendriyam, Jnanendriyam, Prana, etc. So here Devatas means various factors of the physical body, include both physical and subtle body, or various principles. I call them principles because these principles include all organs, and they include even Pancha Bhutas, because even Bhutas, the five elements, are contributing for the sustenance of the body. The space is providing space, and the earth is providing food. Vayu is providing breathing air. Therefore, by principles, I mean all factors that are contributing to the survival of the body. It can be Indriyams, it can be Prana, it can be Antakaranam, it can be Bhutas. All put together is asked as Devaha. So, what are the Devatas? Prajam Vidharayante, that sustain. Why do you call this principle as Devas? Because of two reasons. One reason is, when you look at the principles alone, they are inert in nature. Like Panchabhutas, they are inert in nature. Oxygen is inert, food is inert. But in our scriptures, we never look at anything without taking the consciousness principle into account. Because behind every inert matter, there is Chaitanya Tattvam. And therefore, when we refer to any inert matter, we are referring to it along with the Adhisthana, Chaitanyam, along with the intelligence principle. For example, if you take the sun alone as a matter principle, we call it as Suryaha, but we never believe the sun as mere matter. The sun is pervaded by the Ishvara, the intelligence principle. Therefore, we call it as Surya Devata. Similarly, we look upon Chandra also as Chandra Devata. So by using the word Devata, what we mean is, we are taking along with the consciousness principle. So therefore, every factor is a Devata. So if Surya is blessing you, it is Surya Devata. It is Ishvaraha in the form of Surya that is blessing you. If the rain is blessing you, we don't call rain is blessing, but Ishvara as Varuna Devata is blessing us. Because blessing can be done by only an Chetana principle, intelligent principle, never an Achetana Tattva. That is why each principle is called a Devaha. And there is a second reason also why we call each principle a Devata. See, in the later part of this section, the Upanishad or Pippalada wants to show that Prana is the superior most Devata. That is going to be the topic, because Prana Stuti is our topic. And therefore, in the later portion, Prana is going to be said as the superior most principle among the Indriyas, among the Antahkaranam, among the Panchabhutas and all. Prana is superior most. And to establish the superiority, there is going to be an imaginary quarrel. It is all symbolic story. An imaginary quarrel among all these members, and each one is going to talk. Naam perivan, nee perivan solli. Each one of the factor is going to say, I am the greatest, I am the greatest. Ellarum appadithane solranga. So one boxing champion said this him, I am the greatest. Another boxing champion said this him, I am the latest. Ellarum yes da. So that each one is going to claim superiority, and we are going to see the eyes are going to talk and the nose will talk. Each sense organ, each power is going to talk, and therefore each one is going to be symbolized as a separate individual. Like in Purana, you will find Kama will be personified, love will be personified, Kalam, time will be personified, and there will be discussion among the Krodha, among diseases. In Bhagavatam, very intelligent, interesting discussion is there. Diseases are also personified. Time also is personified for the sake of symbolic representation. Similarly, here also, all principles are going to talk among one another, and therefore here itself they are introduced as one Deva. Each one going to talk. And therefore also the word Devaha is used here. So Kati means what? How many? So how many Devatas are sustaining the Shariram, Sthula, Sukshma Shariram, Karya Karana Sanghataha? This is the first question, first subsidiary question. Because second one is the main prashna, which is subdivided into three. And the second question is, Katare etat prakashayante. What are the principles who talk about their own glory? Prakashayante means who are all going to claim their glory. I have done this, I have done that, I am sustaining. So Prakashanam means publicizing, declaring one's own glory, blowing one's own trumpets. That is the one. So Katare Devaha, Devaha to be supplied. Katare Devaha, among these principles, what are those principles which are going to declare their own glory? And invariably, those who declare their glory will be second hand only, glory less only. Because the one of true glory will never declare. So therefore Indriya will declare their glory, Karmendriyas will declare their glory, Jnanendriyas will declare their glory, Prana will never declare its glory, and Prana alone will be truly glorious. And therefore he asks, what all principles declare their glory? Then the third question is, Kaf punaha yesham varishtaha? Yesham devanam madhye nirdharane shashti. So among these devatas, kaha varishtaha, who is the greatest deva? So which all principles sustain the body, which all principles glorify themselves, and of these principles which is the superior most, varishtaha shreshtaha? This is the question, and you can imagine the answer will be that Prana is the greatest. This is question. Now Pippalada is going to answer. Tatsmai sahovacha akasho hava yesha devaha Vayuragnirapaha Prithvi vang manaschakshuhu Shrotre te prakashya abhivadanti Vayametad banam avashtabhya Vidharayamaha. Now here the first and the second questions are answered. What is the first question? Who are the devas sustaining the body and who glorify themselves? These two questions are answered. Tasmai saha uvacha. Tasmai sishyaya. What Shishya? Bhargavaya. To that Shishya Bhargava, Saha Uvacha, Saha Pippaladaha Guruhu Uvacha. The teacher Pippalada answered. Okay, who are the devas? He begins with Akasha Tattvam. Akasho Havai Yeshaha Devaha. So the first principle that is sustaining the individual is Akasha Tattvam. Because Akasha is providing the place for him to live. So therefore, what is the gift of Akasha? Akashaha Avakasha Pradata. Avakasham na anartham room, place nartham. Avakasha pradanena akashaha vidharayati. So the space sustains a person by providing space for a person to live. Otherwise there will be accommodation problem. Then now why are we facing accommodation problem? Really, accommodation problem is because we want to live in city alone. Otherwise, if you go to any place while going in train, you can find vast and vast lands empty. So otherwise, really speaking, no accommodation problem is there. Infinite space is there. Only we choose to suffer within a short place. And not only Akashaha, then all the other bhutams also. And therefore Pippalada enumerates all the Panchabhutas: Vayuhu, Agnihi, Apaha, Prithivi. Vayuhu, air; Agnihi, fire; Apaha, water; Prithivi, earth. And you have to add Yesha Devaha to all of them. Each one is a Devaha. a principle sustaining the individual. So, Eshaha Vayudevaha Vidharayati, Eshaha Agnidevaha Vidharayati, etc. Each one is a Deva sustaining. And you know how each element contributes. Water is very important, fire is very important, earth is very important, and of course air is also very important. Now we recognize it because each one is polluted. Air is polluted, air is polluted, Akasha we don't because we cannot. So therefore, air is important, fire is important, and earth is important, water is important. Therefore, each one contributes for the sustenance of the body, not the Atma. Remember, we are talking about the individual Anatma, not the individual Atma. And not only them, Vang, Manas, Chakshuhu, Shrotrancha. Vak means organ of speech, which represents all the karmendriyas, and each one is compared to a Devaha. The word Devaha must be added to everyone. Shrotra Devaha, Chakshur Devaha, Jihva Devaha, etc. Then Manaha stands for the Antahkaranam. Each one contributes. Without buddhi, without the mind, etc., we cannot survive. And Chakshuhu Shrotram, the eyes and ears represent all the Jnanendriyam. Thus Pancha Karmendriyani, Pancha Jnanendriyani, then Chatvari Antahkaranani, and the Pancha Bhuta. In fact, that is why in Tattva Bodha we will see Chaturvimshati Tattvotpatti Prakaram Vakshyamaha. There we will see all these alone are called their Tattvas. And here Prana is not introduced, not because Prana is not sustaining, but Prana is going to be later separately introduced as the most important among them. Therefore, Prana is omitted here. Otherwise, Prana also must be included in the list. So, along with the Prana, all of them sustain. So, thus these are the Devatas, Pancha Bhutas, Pancha Jnanendriyam, Pancha Karmendriyam, and Chatvari Antahkaranani. 19 items. If you add Pancha Pranas also, it will be 24 Devatas. Pancha Jnanendriya, Pancha Karmendriya, Pancha Prana, Pancha Bhutas, and Chatvari Antahkaranani. 4 into 5 plus 4. 24 Devas are there, of which 19 have been enumerated here. This is answer to the first question. Then comes the answer to the second question. Te prakashya abhivadanti. These 19 Devas, except the Pancha Pranas, these 19 Devas glorify their function and talk like this. Prakashya means what? Glorifying, declaring, announcing. So Prakashya, publicizing their glory, they talk like this. Abhivadanti. And how they talk is given within quotation. Vayam etad banam avashtabhya vidharayamaha. Vayam vidharayamaha. We alone are sustaining the body. So, Vayam vidharayamaha. Vidharanam nama sustenance. Holding the fort together. So, we hold the individual body together. Banam avashtabhya. Banam means sharira. Literally the word is Vanam Vabhayoho Abhedaha. Perhaps he was a Bengali, I don't know. Bengaladam Vishwanathan Bhaiyari wandering in the veranda. So Vabhayoho Abhedaha, Pippalada might be, I don't know, whatever it is. Banam means Vanam. Vanam means what? Va gati gandhanayoho iti dhatuhu. Vati means gacchati. Body is called Vanam because this body will go away. The second meaning is gandhanam, to smell. And the body is decaying one, smelling one, kutsita gandhavatvat Vanam. Thus, because of this gandha, because it is Prithvi Tattvam, and since it is made up of Prithvi Tattvam predominantly, it has got a smell, and therefore it is called Vati iti Vanam, Gacchati iti Vanam. Either because it goes, disappears, or because Kutsita Gandhavatvat Vanam, Vanam eva Banam. So, Etat Banam Avashtabhya. Avashtabhya means holding together. From disintegration. Just as a string holds a few things together tied, similarly we alone keep the individual together and vidharayamaha, sustain the individual. Iti prakashya abhivadanti. They go on declaring their glory. This is the answer to the second question. Now we have to get to the third question, because that alone is the most important one. Therefore, two questions are answered in one mantra. The rest of the section is answer to the third question. Pranastuti is going to come, which we will see in the next class. Hari.